We are at the Colonial Theater in downtown Pittsfield, Massachusetts. I'm John Kroll. We're speaking with Scott Kirchner, who is the owner of Mad Macs in downtown Pittsfield. He's a certified Apple specialist and also has a store in Williamstown, expanding, and because there's a lot of people with Macs out there. But but no matter what kind of computer you have, security is a concern. Every time we plug in a computer, there's vulnerability. Whenever we especially have wireless and so forth, there's connections that go both ways. So security, people I think more and more are recognizing that that we're in that sort of Wild West atmosphere, as it were. So what are some of the things that people ought to be thinking about protecting themselves?
You said it. It doesn't matter what kind of computer or device you have nowadays, whether it's a Mac, a PC, a handheld, a cell phone, a smartphone, you name it. As soon as you connect that device to the internet, you are now becoming open to the possibility of attacks in some sense. The vulnerabilities are just natural as a byproxy of being connected to the internet. One of the most important things that you can do for any of your devices is password protect them. If it's really sensitive data, then you should be using some sort of encryption on the disk. Encryption is a fancy word for scrambling your data in a way that it's not easily unscrambled by somebody who doesn't have what we call an algorithm or a security key.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that the average Joe can get for their devices? Because when you think high security, you think the healthcare field or government and that sort of thing. But just the average user.
It's actually a great point. And by law, some of those industries have to have them. Healthcare in particular with the HIPAA laws. Yeah. I won't speak to all the HIPAA laws, but I can tell you, and you probably know already, that those folks have to use encryption to disk so that it doesn't put anybody's personal data out there for other folks to see. Personal medical data, that is. Apple computers actually build that kind of protection in, and they do that in several ways. That's one of the things that we really love about our Macs is, first of all, you can turn on encryption in form of what we call the file vault, so that when items are written to your computer, that they are encrypted automatically to disk. This is something that is available to every Mac user by proxy of owning a Mac. There are other ways as well. That's the easiest way, without getting into the boorish details of encryption. So the other thing that we really love about Apple and Apple security is Apple's newest operating systems are all built on top of the oldest operating system that's called Unix. Mm-hmm. Unix in and of itself has always been a very secure computing environment. It's still in use in many universities and in the federal government. And is widely used in the military complex as well. The reason for it is because of the way that the core of that system is protected. It makes a very robust system very hard to break into. There are ways that you can make yourself vulnerable with Unix, but in Apple, they hide those vulnerabilities so that you don't accidentally trip over them. However, if you do a little bit of research, you can find ways to make yourself more vulnerable if that's something you're looking to do.
Right. Of course, most of us don't want that.
We recommend it not, and that's why Apple doesn't make it very easy for you to do it. They want it to be safe and secure experience for you no matter what you're doing. But password protecting is going to be one of the biggest things you can do. Make sure you're using, a password that uses uppercase and lowercase letters. Add some numbers in there. Add some symbols in there if it's allowed for. The harder it is to guess your password, the less likely it is somebody to get in there and take advantage of your system.
Speaking with Scott Kirchner, he is the owner of Mad Macs on a lot of very fascinating topics here, and something that's personal to everybody, and that is their computers and their devices. So we'll continue that conversation right after this.